evening, people. Content. The masses asked for. They were like, Grizz, man, you do one show a week on your redundant channel. What is the point of having a channel if you're only going to do one show a week? Well, masses, this is, Keith, is it our third one this week for the second week in a row?
We're hamster wheeling, mate. Hamster wheeling.
They asked for content and we're bringing them content after content. People, very welcome to a pre-match carnage. As we're going live, we're getting messages already of Borough. Up the Borough. Come on, Borough. No. Yeah, they've taken the lead. Perfect timing after Borough scored. 1-0, Borough 1-0. Look at this. It's all kicking off. The eyes emojis are coming out already. Calm down, people. Calma. Keith, we're smashing out content. Pre-match carnage. Thank you very much for joining me, people. You're all very welcome to another pre-match preview. Where it's pre-match preview. Too many pre's there. But the game's coming thick and fast, and so we have to speak on it. I've got my fellow red fella in the building. Mr. Handsome himself, Mr. Cross. You've been doing a lot of angry tweeting recently. Hope you're calm. Hope you're not as cross as you normally are.
Nah, I have to live up to my surname at times. You know, just it's becoming a bit of a passion merchant on Twitter.
You are. You're quite a passion merchant, man.
You know, it's not Trent Alexander-Arnold prop. It's saving Darwin Nunes prop. Or if it's just praying that we put out an 11 tomorrow, even though our players seem to be falling down like flies, Grizz, I am not. I'm fully fit and raring to go.
Good stuff. As you can see, guys, I have some faces that you may not be familiar with. I mean, if you don't know Mr. Fulham, Jack Collins, I don't know where you are. Jack, thank you so much for coming in, man. I know I'm the most organized person, and I told you days in advance. Do you know what I mean? I planned this properly.
Mate, it's
all
the
good. Eternal professional that I am, but thank you so much for coming in.
Mate, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me back on. It's been a while. But look, it's a good week. I'm excited. It's just a lot of fun. I'm on my way up to Anfield tomorrow. It's gonna be good.
Amazing. I hope you get the most amazing welcome and hope you go home crying. But we'll get to that. That's a different story. And this is a difference, man. I love this link up. I love this collaboration. Because I put a tweet out at about 6 o'clock when I was Billy No Mates at about 6 o'clock. I had no mates coming on today with me. I thought I'm going to talk into an empty screen with the chat. And then Sumit said, you know what? I'll help the poor fella out. Do you know what I mean? I'll help him out. And you know what? I love it. I love when this kind of shit happens. Thank you very much, Sumit, man.
No, I wanted to be on the show. The way I look at it, I said tweet about it. I'm the Owen Beck of Football Carnage. I'm with Verge and Konate. You know what I mean? I just need experience. I'm gonna head down. Tell me what I need to do. Just keep me in the game, and we'll be all right. So I'm really looking forward to today's show.
I love that analogy, Owen Beck, man. But no, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I love it. I mean, me and you have spoken on Twitter, and from what you tell me, you're a subscriber and you've been watching our shows.
Yeah,
which makes it even more humbling. Lovely. I love stories like that, man. Thank you very much, Sumit. We'll get into guys, we're going to get into Liverpool, Fulham. Smash the like if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Keep us up to date with that game if you feel like we're not. But we're going to focus on Liverpool, Fulham. We're going to focus on Fulham in the first section because Jack's a very busy man and we've only got him for about 30 minutes or so. After that, the fee gets way, way beyond my pay packet. But, Jack, Marco Silva, we're going to start off with. I was just telling you off air, I'm not gonna say it just because I've got you, but I'm a huge fan of this coach of yours. He's done a tremendous job, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and also picking up the pieces from where he came in after the whole Scott Parker fiasco. Parker did well, first season in the Championship, got Fulham promoted. Even if it was skin of the teeth against Wembley, against Brentford at Wembley, he'll always have that moment because it was against Brentford as well. That's going to be something that will go down in the book. But isolating Mitrovic, making it feel like this team couldn't score goals. I think it was the record least amount of goals scored at home in a Premier League campaign. It was a bit of a mess. And then he obviously packed up and went off to Bournemouth. It's not gone great for him since, so that's something. And there was all this talk. Steve Cooper was linked. There was loads of different coaches linked to Fulham. And out of the blue, Marco Silva was appointed. And everyone was like, okay, that's a bit weird. Obviously, been out of the English game for a while since it ended badly at Everton.
Where did he
And
go
I think,
after Everton? Oh, we can't
well, he
remember.
bopped around for a little while. He had some strange spells. He was at Olympiacos for a
Oh,
little
yeah.
while. But it was kind of one of those where he had something on his mind, I think, about the way that he left
yeah.
English football, and he wanted to make it right. And I think what's interesting about him is that the way he came in turned Fulham from a side that basically couldn't score goals into this free scoring attacking unit in the Championship. But we know, and we've seen teams come up, and look, Burnley this year, but we've seen Norwich in years gone by. The teams can dominate the Championship, get to the Premier League, and have absolutely no idea how to switch tactics from that, complete domination of the ball to being able to survive against teams who are far more stable in the league than you are, have far bigger budgets than you do, etc., etc. And the way that Marco Silva had his Fulham side adapt, I think, is the most impressive thing about his time. And it's not just that one time from the Championship to the Premier League, but also this year losing Mitrovic, and suddenly it's like, okay, Fulham were completely wired around Alexander Mitrovic in an attacking sense. Everything was based around setting up chances for Mitrovic. He was the player that brought others into the game. There was a lot of different things, not just the goals, but the leadership qualities. And people can laugh about Mitrovic's record with discipline. It wasn't a thing. He didn't get, that red card against Manchester United was the first time he was ever sent off, and the last time in his Fulham career. So that leadership ability and what he brought to the team needed a complete revamp. And suddenly, 6 months later, Fulham are beating Arsenal and outplaying Arsenal on New Year's Eve at the Cottage. So I think it's taken a while to get going this season. But Marco Silva continues to really impress. And look, that new contract, I think, was absolutely massive from our point of view, because there was talk of Saudi Arabia in the summer. Now that went away, but there's definitely people interested in Marco Silva. So for him to commit felt like a massive statement.
Keith, massive fan. Jack says, are you a massive fan as well? Especially, I thought the way he handled the Mitrovic scenario somehow. That could have been messy, or that could have been complicated. That could have been the breaking of Fulham or him as well. But the way he handled it all, and Mitrovic was a big personality, a big player as well. He's come through it. And I think it's fair to say, and Jack may mind me saying it, may not, but it's all about opinions. I think Fulham, probably some people had down as like maybe one of the candidates to go down. But wow, they're anything but relegation candidates right now.
Yeah, because I honestly thought that Fulham were not going to hardly score any goals this season, if I'm honest. After Mitrovic went, the form of Raul Jimenez, Carlos Vinicius, he kind of pops up with a goal every 10 to 15 games. Like, you know what I mean?
If we're lucky.
He looks like a bad boy striker. Like, if you took a picture of him and said, this is a centre forward in the Premier League, he looks the business. But when I see him on the pitch, it's a different story. So, yeah, to your point, I thought the pressure that Saudi Arabia put on you guys last in the summer, Jack, was quite intense, because the way they did you with the Mitrovic deal, talking to the agents, whispering in his ear, getting him to kind of change his mind. And I'm right in saying this was all happening during pre-season as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you're trying to build up for a new season, get ready, and all of a sudden your number one guy is basically having his head turned. I thought was pretty dread. So I felt sorry for you. As for Marcus Silva, he's a problem for Jurgen Klopp in a weird way. I mean, I think he's only beaten Jurgen Klopp once, but they played each other 8 times and Jurgen's only beaten him 4 times, which is actually quite low when you think about the
Absolutely.
things that he's had. He's got quite a few draws. I remember Everton came to us. I think the only win, I believe, was when he was at Everton, wasn't it? When they came to Anfield and beat us during COVID.
Yeah.
So he's got that win under his belt. And, that game at Anfield that just went by, I mean, Fulham could have won that game. I mean, it took 4 world-class strikes out of the blue from Liverpool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, literally, Jack, if you watch our Goal of the Month competition, it's basically...
They're all against Fulham. Yeah.
They're all against Fulham.
That's Fulhamish for you. That's what it is, man. That is it.
Yeah, but he's done a fantastic job. And look, no doubt he's need the backing of the owners in certain ways. What is your view at the moment, Jack, on the ownership situation? How are Fulham fans how's the relationship? Because these days it's so important, isn't it? With in terms of ownership and fans' relationship and coaches. Marco Silva, to me, on the outside comes across as a very, very coach that likes having his way, not having his
Yeah.
way, but
Yeah,
very
I think you're right.
principled, has his principles, and knows what he wants in a player, knows what he wants in his targets. How what are the relationships with the it must be good because he said no to Saudi Arabia money.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the relationship between Silva and the ownership seems to be relatively strong. That's never really been challenged. I don't think there is still a divide between the Fulham fan base and I think the ownership in some regards. There are things that people are not happy with. I mean, whether those things are reasonable or not in terms of not spending the Mitrovic money on another striker when maybe there's FFP concerns, you can argue all day over what the right thing to do is in these situations. It's better than it was. There have been times where this has been really difficult, I think, as an ownership. And there have been question marks before. But at the moment, things seem relatively calm. The only big issue that continues to rear its head is ticket prices. Ticket prices have been a major, major problem at Fulham for a while. There have been protests, there have been campaigns about the fact that fans feel that are being priced out, that, they're looking for people on day trips to London who are like, oh, I'd like to watch some Premier League football. I'll pay 150 quid for a ticket. That's a thing, right? So look, they'll point to it and say, this is working. We're making loads of money. I think the fans are slightly more concerned about what the long-term implications are if Fulham were to be relegated again or whatever that looks like. So that's the big sticking point. But I think that a lot of people see that as Fulham's kind of director level board rather than necessarily coming directly from the ownership. It's the CEO and the COO and all those people who are actually making those decisions rather than Shahid Khan and Tony Khan. So it's not, I wouldn't say that relationship is great between the fan base and the ownership, but equally, I think as long as Fulham continues to do well on the pitch, and so much of that is due to Marco Silva, as long as Marco Silva is happy, people are quite happy to sort of just go, okay, that's over my head.
Yeah. So, mate, easily my favourite West London club. Everyone will know about my relationship with Chelsea. But Fulham, on the other hand, I mean, look, come on, my uncle's own Fulham. How can I not How can I not love Fulham? Do you know what I mean? But
no, they're a nice club.
They're a nice club, but they're in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, and they're coming to Anfield tomorrow, and they're doing very well in the Premier League. So it's just not a nice club. They're a good football team and coach very well. We've got to have our wits about us tomorrow, right?
Definitely, we have to. And I think, Fulham being in a two-legged affair, they're going to have to manage this well. And Marco Silva in his press conference talked about game management for his team. And they're going to have to figure out how they approach this game. I suspect they will go maybe 5 at the back, out of possession, in possession 4 at the back, and try to frustrate Liverpool. Marco Silva is an astute manager. He is against the top teams, he comes out. And we've seen that obviously in recent times with Arsenal. We see that at Anfield. He does the business. And they've got good players. I think Bassi and Iwobi not being there might be misses for them. But we've got to be on our game and be patient if we want to get past Fulham, because I think they're going to be resolute. But yeah, we can't expect this to be like, oh, we're just going to hammer them 4-0. It's not going to be one of those games. They're going to come out and they're going to grind us out. And we've got to be there till the end, I think.
Jack, looking at the situation of the two teams, obviously you've got, as Summit said, you've got a couple of very important players off to the AFCON in Iwobi, who's been a revelation. I have to hold my hands up and say Iwobi's humble.
Yes.
Keith, that's the conversation.
That's not Iwobi. That's not Iwobi. I don't know who that is. That's not
Iwobi, man. From what we knew at Everton and Arsenal, man, like he humbled us. Like I remember us having a laugh and a giggle about Iwobi, but less said the better. And Bassi is interesting. I want to get your opinions on the absentees and tell us if there's anything else that sort of injury-wise is a bit of an issue tomorrow, because obviously we get onto the Liverpool stuff in the second part of the show, people. But with the Fulham side tomorrow, I'll tell you what. While you fill us in with what's not, I'll bring up your last formation, last lineup against Arsenal, and then we take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, look, Bassi and Iwobi are both big misses. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Bassi in this exact circumstance is potentially the bigger miss. Not necessarily because I think he's a better or more important player, but because I think that Fulham have more depth in those attacking areas to be able to cover for Iwobi's absence, whereas Bassi feels like the one who's stepped into this back line and really changed things around. And it depends what which Liverpool comes out and plays, and it depends who plays through the middle. I think that if Darwin was to play through the middle, whether that's right or wrong tactically, Bassi would have been the man to step in there and be able to deal with the physicality of that duel. Whereas I think that Tosin is a slightly more astute defender in some ways, and he's slightly better at reading the game. Bassi's recovery pace, ability to get back, and his ability to step out of the back line, both really have become really important to Fulham over the last couple of weeks. Iwobi will be replaced almost directly by Andreas Pereira, which is fine for this game, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think it's going to be interesting. There's not much in terms of who comes in. It's a Diop played in the Rotherham game in the FA Cup. He was the one that stepped in. Tim Ream's still on the brink in terms of if we know if he's going to be fit or available or not. Either way, I think it will be Diop. I think he's the player that comes in here. And aside from that, there isn't all that much injury news to report. Adama Traore is, as far as I'm concerned, a myth. We've seen him for about 10 minutes this season. He was really good for 10 minutes against Arsenal at the Emirates, not on New Year's Eve, back in September.
Job done.
And honestly, we haven't seen him since. So I'm starting to believe that Adama Traore might actually not exist at this point.
Yeah.
But apart from that,
it
feels like the squad. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure Thiago exists either at this point.
Yeah.
He definitely used to exist. That's one thing. Adama did too. But I think that's what we're going to see here. I think there might be a couple of changes in the Fulham lineup. I think Kenny Tete comes in at right back. Maybe.
Let's
Castagna.
let's help us. I've got a magnificent website here that I've actually managed to find and locate with the help of some people. I've put in Bernd Leno. You haven't got a cup keeper to put us off, have you?
We do have a cup keeper, but there's absolutely no way this cup keeper is going to be playing in a game of this magnitude. Also, probably worth pointing out, this is Fulham's first ever League Cup semi-final. We've never got to the point in the competition before. Our last domestic semi-final was against Chelsea at Villa Park in 2004. And our last semi-final full stop was in the Europa League in 2010 under Roy Hodgson. Wow. So Fulham have waited a long time for this. This is not something that we've necessarily seen. And that's something, we'll come back to this team, but that's something that might be worth bearing in mind. For Liverpool, obviously the Premier League sits at the kind of peak of where this season looks, and that's priority numero uno, full stop. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that.
Yeah.
The Europa League might not look on paper like the most obvious thing that Liverpool will be targeting, but I do have a thing that it's the only competition that Klopp's been in with Liverpool that he hasn't won. And I've got a funny feeling he might just want to complete the cabinet a little bit on that one. Plus, obviously, it's guaranteed Champions League entry. It's a trophy, a European trophy, etc., etc. Then the FA Cup, obviously, just beating Arsenal. Big competition, probably more prestigious. Now, obviously, the timings work, so it's not majorly an issue. But you've got to say that, at the very least, the League Cup's probably third priority down this list for Liverpool. I think right now, and to be honest, across the course of this season, Fulham probably aren't going to win the FA Cup. I don't think we're going to qualify for Europe based on our Premier League position. And I don't think we're going to get relegated or sucked into that relegation vortex because I think there's too many teams that are worse than us.
Yeah, I agree.
I think this is pretty much it. Like Fulham are just like, this is the one.
But this what ties into probably what I want to get from you and your prediction of a lineup and formation. So go on, give us out of these amazing tactical flexes we can move around here. What is your go-to formation, or what is your formation you think he's going to employ tomorrow?
4-2-3-1. Fulham really never play anything but a 4-2-3-1. I take Simon's point in that Palhinha occasionally drops back in when he's out of possession in order to make it a little bit of a 3, but it is very much the setup that we kind of look at. So,
all right, well, let's go from right back. Who we got?
I think it'll be Kenny Tete. Castagna's been brilliant since he came in, but Tete's a better one-on-one defender. And if it's Luis Diaz out on that left-hand side for Liverpool, I think that they'll trust him to shut that window down. He was brilliant, obviously, at Anfield last time out as well. And the two centre-backs will probably be Tosin. Yeah, and I think it'll be Diop. So that's my thing. And then Anthony Robinson will play left-back. He always plays left-back.
Talk to us about Anthony Robinson. A few links with Liverpool.
Yeah.
I know we like a few players from you guys in the past.
You really need a left back, right?
Hold on, I just spelled...
Two S's.
Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong, am I?
Yeah.
I mean, what's about Robinson?
He's great, and he's been one of Fulham's best players this season, I think, by some distance. His physicality and his ability to get up and down the pitch is almost unmatched. And his engine and the fact that considering he's that fast and he works that hard, he never seems to get injured. I've probably jinxed it now and he's going to go off with a hamstring strain after 3 minutes tomorrow. But his kind of fitness record for someone who's that explosive and gets up and down that much is remarkable. I do have concerns, not necessarily about him leaving Fulham. I think that he might have earned a step up. I think that where Robinson has struggled a little bit more is actually when Fulham have been more dominant in the Championship. That ability to kind of think on his feet and actually deliver. If Anthony Robinson could cross, he'd be one of the best left backs in the world, but he can't. And actually, that's why I don't think that necessarily he would fit this Liverpool team in terms of what he does. I think in transition, few better. But actually, his final delivery isn't always great. And that, I think, would frustrate maybe more fans at a bigger club than maybe it would here.
Lads, is Jack putting us off going for Robinson? Or would you... I mean, what do you think of him, Keith?
He is.
Are you a fan, Sumit?
I'm a fan of... He played excellent at Anfield. He's like a better version of DeAndre Yedlin. You know, remember DeAndre Yedlin? Yeah. He's a better version of him. I like Robinson a lot. You can cross the ball. You can do that in training. Come on, Jack.
Honestly, I ask the Fulham fan base can Anthony Robinson cross the ball. I'm sure you'll get a variety of answers. Fine at drilling the ball low when he's broken past the defence, but in terms of when it gets knocked back to him and he has time to think, those crosses tend to be wayward. So that's the only reason I think he might not be able to step up. Right, we'll move into midfield.
I love him physicality. Physically wise as well. He's magnificent. Right, midfield, another one we want off you, I'm pretty sure, is going to be one of the key players there. Oh, guys, what a
John
player.
Littlestraw. Yeah,
how do I spell his
PLH.
PLH.
Yeah, there he is.
How did you manage to keep him? I mean, that was a...
If he stays another year, I'm going to call my firstborn Joao. That's where we're at, right?
It's romantic. It's romantic.
It helps that my missus is half Portuguese, but we roll with it. But you're kind of talking about these things, and he's everything to this Fulham team. He is the heartbeat. He is the main, and he's the reason that Fulham don't get absolutely trounced defensively time and time again. He is a one-man wrecking ball in the middle. And to be perfectly honest with you, I wouldn't begrudge a move up the pyramid. He's earned his shot. He's been absolutely sensational from the moment he hit the ground from Sporting. He came in and he started smashing people around, and people were really concerned, I think, when obviously there was the links, people were like, his head's going to be turned. He's not going to be putting in 100%. Polina doesn't have any other gears but full throttle. It's like he can't play football unless he's running around smashing people. And it's absolutely incredible. He is truly a unique footballer, and any team in the world would be richer for having him in it. So I'm not going to try and put you off that one.
Tom Kearney, am I right?
Yeah, see, TC's been brilliant. And I think it's been interesting to watch his development this season, in that he's obviously been dominant at the Championship level for a while. He's struggled when Fulham have come up to the Premier League. He's a little bit slow is probably the wrong word. His brain works faster than anybody else on the pitch, but he hasn't had the physicality to match it in years gone by. This year, something seems to have changed. He's playing a slightly different role, deeper down. He's got that captain's responsibility. Maybe it's just the maturing of him as a player. He's going to reach 10 years with Fulham next summer, which is incredible. We haven't seen a testimonial at the Cottage for about 25 years. We're going to get two, Tim Ream and Tom Kearney. It's going to be great. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, because Fulham are more offensively, minded when Tom Kearney's on the pitch. He's a player that picks players. He's really good at keeping possession. Harrison Reed could come in there. That's the other option here. Have
I gone too quick?
Because I actually think that I thought that Harrison Reed would start against Arsenal at the Cottage, and I thought that, especially with the way that Arsenal play with the two attacking eights in Havertz and Ødegaard, I was like, all right, there's definitely going to be a point here where we look at it and go, Fulham need to cover those positions in order to break it down. He didn't. He went with Kearney. He was bold, and actually it paid off massively. So I can see him doing the same thing again here. The only question is, does he save a little bit, or what does the squad look like ahead of Chelsea away on Saturday, which is obviously a big game for us as well. So I think it will be Kearney, I think. But if it's Reed, don't be surprised. The rest of the team, this looks good to me.
Am I doing ITK Fulham style here?
It's good.
Your team? So far, is it looking good?
Looks good to me.
Pereira obviously
steps in for Iwobi.
Steps in for Iwobi. Willian is still going strong. He'll be fancying his chances tomorrow, right? Obviously, without no Trent, probably young Connor Bradley stepping in, unless Gomez comes
Goes
in.
to right back and Owen Beck
then
comes in at
Owen
left
Beck,
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
Owen Beck comes in. So we'll discuss that once you're gone, so you don't report back to Marco Silva.
Hey mate,
We
I've
don't wanna
watched
give too
7
away.
games from Owen Beck in Dundee this year. I guarantee you, I know more about him than you do.
Amazing. Oh shit, we should have kept him. But well, I'm best mates with his agent, so no. No. But Willian
Yeah.
plays a bit part role, but
Slower start to the season, but I think over the last couple of weeks has really found that groove again, and his link up with Robinson down that side is remarkable. So yeah, I think Willian is the natural start. Also, big game players who have been there and done it important in these kind of games, and I think Willian is the most experienced man in this Fulham side. That makes sense to me. I think he steps in.
talk
The
to
other
me
wing's
about-
more questionable.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. This is what I'm not sure. Is it going to be our old boy, or have you got something else lined up?
So it's either going to be Harry Wilson or Bobby Decordova-Reid. And I think obviously Reid scored the winner against Rotherham
He's
in
a
the cup. He
menace.
scored
He's
the
a
winner
menace against
and he
us.
scored the third goal against you as well. So he has been brilliant. I thought Wilson had a really good game at Anfield. So there's 2 players there chomping at the bit to play who are both really keen to be part of this setup, and it's good. It's a good problem to have for Marco
What's your
Silva.
shout?
I think he goes Decordova-Reid purely because I think his defensive work rate's a bit better. And I think that if we're looking at tomorrow and thinking, what do Fulham actually want out of it? It's to stay in the tie, right? As Sumit said at the start, it's not to... Obviously, if Fulham can win, incredible, amazing, fantastic. Would I walk out 2-1 loss tomorrow and be relatively okay with it? Yeah, I would, yeah. I'd take a 1-goal disadvantage to going back to the cottage. I think that's where we're at. And yeah, Raul will start up top. So that's what I think it will be. Maybe Reid for Kenny, maybe Wilson for Bobby. Apart from that,
I
solid.
suggest to you that you may see. The thing is, it all depends on the mindset of your coach. He will know Liverpool are a bit of a wounded animal in terms of injuries and kind of lineup we're gonna have tomorrow. And this, in a weird way, could be your best chance. I know you take us to Fulham, but we might have players back for Fulham.
Yeah.
Whereas tomorrow is in the middle of a bit of a crisis injury wise. I was thinking maybe he plays Harrison Reid alongside Paulina and Kearney and just really stiffens it up. Is there a chance of that happening? Has he got that defensive side to him suddenly away from home?
Not
Has
really.
he played that? No,
not
Okay.
really. I think at the start of the season when Fulham was shipping goals, and there was a lot of calls for like ditch the 10, play 3 dogs of war in the middle, play Polina, play Sasha Lukic, play Harrison Reid, and just literally crowd teams out. We didn't really have that. It never really happened. He stuck with it. He's a real sucker for a 10. He loves a 10. So I can't see him changing that tomorrow, especially as you say, with Liverpool, obviously not. Still, this is an incredible squad. We saw them beat Arsenal at the Emirates at the weekend. But especially with the players out that are out, it looks like an opportunity in some ways.
Jack, that's the lineup that you think is going to go to Anfield tomorrow, try to get a result. Talk to us. What's your prediction for tomorrow's game? How do you think the first leg's going to pan out?
I think it's going to be interesting to see how both teams attack it. And look, whether or not Virgil van Dijk comes back in, whether that illness has passed and he's fine, it would be hard to drop either Konate or Kwanzaa after the performance they put in at the Emirates, I think. Who plays at where in the fullback positions is going to be interesting. I saw it was like, first choice and second choice left back out. First choice right back out, second choice right back playing left back because the other 2 are out, and then you've got a couple of players who come back in.
We're 2 injuries away from me getting the call up. Put it that way. That's how.
But look,
Beck
and Bradley are best friends, aren't they? Maybe they both play. Like it's going to be
you'd love
interesting.
that, I guess, in a way.
Look, I mean, I think that there's always 2 sides to that story. Obviously, Liverpool are going to be a weaker side with Trent out, fine. But also, if you go to these, the lads that are coming in going, here you go, here's your big opportunity. Here's your moment that you can, endear yourself to the Liverpool faithful straight away. Go out and take it. I think that can go 2 ways. The one I'm worried about is Harvey. That's what I'm worried about. Because obviously, Fulham's youngest ever player, it all ended a little bit not nicely.
Sour. I
Sour.
remember you explaining the scenario like it did end up a little bit sour with the fans and the clubs. But in a way, if you put aside the sourness, you told me this a couple of years ago that he's going to reach the top. He's going to
Yeah.
be an absolute gem, and he's showing it. So right, we haven't got much time to touch on the other youngster that we nicked from you guys, but very quickly, your thoughts on the Fabio Carvalho scenario and situation. What did you make of that?
Look, I mean, I think Hull's quite a good landing spot for him. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
he's had experience being excellent in the Championship before. Hull are on the rise. They're just outside the playoff positions. Liam Rosenior is an old Fulham legend playing there, managing
Great
there. And it
coach,
seems like they're playing a really nice system of football.
progressive.
And
Yeah,
most importantly, they play with a 10. I think I remember talking to you
yeah,
when he signed for you and
yeah.
saying, I really like Fabio. I think he has all the ability in the world. I think he's going to go, if he gets the right coach, I think he's going to be there. And I didn't, again, another one. I don't begrudge that move because he's clearly a stellar talent. But I was worried that Liverpool don't play with a 10. And Fabio is one of those weird players who doesn't play anywhere else. He is a pure and simple number 10. And that worried me at the time. And it still worries me now. So I'm glad he's going somewhere where he's going to fit into a system. I don't know what that looks like in the summer, but if he can go and dominate and be excellent in his whole side, maybe there is an opportunity to look at how Liverpool play and as things change and as players come and go, maybe the system shifts a bit. I don't know, but I'm glad he's gone somewhere where he should be able to thrive in theory.
Absolutely. Go on then. Before we let you go, prediction for tomorrow. We'll get you back for the return leg and see where we are mood wise and chance of progressing wise. But first and foremost, first away leg tomorrow. What would you settle for?
I'd settle for a 1-goal loss, 100%. I think come back to the Cottage. It's sell out. There's not that much of a block of normally Liverpool get the entire end. It's not going to be like that this
It's not gonna be
time.
like that, yeah. How many you got coming down tomorrow? It must be a big quota because you're gonna have that whole away end. Yeah, you're gonna have.
I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I'll be there anyway, so it's fine. That's
the main
enough.
thing.
One man
That's
army
right.
on the
That's the main-
microphone.
that's the main thing,
Exactly. They'll know. They'll see me there, and they'll be well up for it. But I think that I'd settle for a 1-goal loss. I think that's something you'd have to at this point. But I'm going to say that we can take advantage of the fact that I think Kelleher will play. I love Kelleher. I'm an Irishman. I want him to succeed. Aside from tomorrow, where I want him to have an absolute stinker. But I think that maybe we can take advantage of a little bit of this, the lack of first team depth, and maybe I'm going to go 2-2.
Amazing. Jack, it's been an absolute pleasure as always.
It's always
Thank
a
you so
pleasure,
much
Chris. Thanks for
joining
having
in.
me.
We will try, and I will beg you to come on before the second leg and see where we're at mood-wise,
course,
level-wise, game-wise, poised. Hopefully, for the neutral, hopefully he's poised really well, and we can really look forward to that second leg. Thanks again, Jack.
Always a pleasure. See you later, boys. Take care. Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. Yeah, man. So, looking at that team from Fulham, first thoughts to me, I like this Fulham team. I think they're going to be brave tomorrow. I think they're going to be daring tomorrow. I think it's a bit of nothing to lose for them.
Yeah,
they're safe in the league. Like Jack says, they're not really expected to win FA Cup. Progress into Europe. No, they done really well last season. This is it for them. It's all about going out there and really relaxing and playing the game. And sometimes that's key.
yeah, I agree. I think they might assess the game as a lot of teams do when they come to Anfield, keep it tight first 15, 20 minutes. But if it's 0-0 after 60 minutes, they might feel like, hey, we can maybe open up a little bit, give it a shot. They're going to go strong. It's just going to be one of those things. But I think they will fancy the fact that there's Kelleher, new right back, no Endo. They're going to fancy their chances. I still think that will be just too strong for them. I think we'll beat them. And I think 3-1, 2-0, something like that. I think we can beat them. I think Trent being out is a huge loss, but I'm more thinking about that from a league point of view, not from a Fulham League Cup point of view. I think we'll be okay. But I think Fulham will come strong, but I think we'll have too much for them.
Keith, obviously, it was going to happen, wasn't it? After us talking about Trent and the whole of the footballing world finally seeing Trent come of age, some said. The closest I recall, I said that's the closest I've seen to a Steven Gerrard performance for a non-Steven Gerrard player. He ran that show at Arsenal. It now has come to our knowledge that he done all that with a slight tear in his ligament. I mean, what a huge blow it could have been worse, but it's definitely not ideal.
It's worrying. Pep saying that it's going to be 2 weeks. I'm not so sure.
3 weeks, he said.
3 weeks. I think he's being positive. If I'm honest with you, you know what Liverpool are like. 1 minute is 3 weeks, the next minute is 6 months. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Trent, but that 3 week turnaround for this particular niggle, it couldn't. For the fact that it's come, it couldn't have come at a better time. If I'm perfectly honest with you, we've got the winter break coming up. We've got quite a gap between games. You know, in that time, hopefully Trent can rehab himself back quicker than expected. By the time the Premier League games really get going again, we've got other players coming back, particularly wing backs. So, you know, you look at that again. Fulham League Cup. Would he have played? I doubt it, to be honest. Anyway,
At home, he would have, no?
I don't know. I think Klopp would have. Klopp's rested him from pretty much all of the League Cup games. I think he's only brought him off the bench. Against Bournemouth.
Yeah, but with the 10-day break, he would have played tomorrow, Keith.
Yeah, I think he would have played. I think he would have played tomorrow just because of the break. But I do also agree that it's also a strong possibility he may have brought him off the bench, etc., for the League Cup games, especially with the minutes we've got to play.
And I mean, the Bournemouth game again. If you can't go, I always say, look, if you can't go away to a team like Bournemouth and get a result, then
you're mocking it. You're mocking it.
Playing for Liverpool Football Club.
You haven't done your research.
Listen, I know we lost to Bournemouth last season.
Yeah, Bournemouth.
Klopp said it best. Klopp said it best. You know what? Klopp said it best, actually. We can go to Bournemouth with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Mo Salah and lose. We did that last season.
True.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's not to suggest that we miss him, but we can also, you know, he can play and we can still lose. So this is what I'm trying to say. Like that Fulham, Bournemouth, Fulham, Norwich, Bristol Rovers, those type of games, even backed by Chelsea, I would suspect that he may be close to the Chelsea game
on the bench.
Yeah, and that's when the season starts to really kick on. So you've got 3 cup games there, and the Premier League tie is sandwiched in between that. It's the best that could have happened. I like Sumit's positivity. I'm usually the positive one.
I'm going to dampen your positivity.
No, but I got to be positive.
I'm the
positive.
I think tomorrow is going to be a tough watch. Tomorrow is going to be a tough watch.
That was a turn of events.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say. Tomorrow's going to be a tough watch. Tomorrow's going to be a very tough watch. And don't be surprised if Fulham snatch it.
Oh, what's the reasoning and thinking behind that then? Is it because of the tiredness and fatigue? Same players have to go again. Too many key players. Too many key players out. Well, I guess we tried to start picking the formation and line up for us. But we've got in that. Sumit, your thoughts on the Trent situation? How you think he's been playing so far?
No, he's been excellent. He's been he's been one of the players of the season for us. I think giving him the vice captain. I think Grizz, you said it on maybe the Big Six. Giving the vice captaincy was the best decision that Klopp ever made. Yeah. He's really thriving, and I think and the fact that we can bring him into centre midfield, like the Arsenal game, he finished in the middle. His range of passing cannot be understated. The way he just even on the weekend, he took the ball across his goal, left foot, weaker foot, and sets up Diaz for an attack. He's amazing, and he is going to be a big miss. I have to be optimistic just because it's such a big blow. We've got no Salah. We've got Verge, who's ill. Of course, we've got Alisson, and it's a big blow not to have Trent. But I just feel the way my optimism is that Fulham, I'm hoping Fulham don't go for it. They might, but I also think that Conor Bradley did excellent against Arsenal. Yeah, it was 15 minutes, and I get it, and I get that. But if he has... And I think even the centre-backs might change. We'll talk about that because I think Klopp would have had a different eye of having different centre-back with Verge, but now that's changed. Now Trent's out. But I think we have to be... the thing about this season and this team, they've shown resilience every single time they've had any obstacle. And that's the only thing getting me through tomorrow and the next few weeks. That any single time that they've had any adversity, they've come back and they've shown and they've grown, especially for the new players to see that. So that's where my optimism comes. Trent's been amazing, but I still think we get Fulham tomorrow. It's at Anfield. We get Fulham tomorrow.
Great Top's come in strong and said 4-0 tomorrow, guys. Don't worry, relax.
Fair
dues. The end of that, then yeah, fair play. Preciso says Mac playing DM, no Sabozalai, no fullback crosses, no Salah, all chance creation. is what? What does that mean?
Missing in
MIA.
action, I think. MIA.
Missing in action. Sorry, there you go. Thank you very much for helping me out in these kind of scenarios. Guys, we're going to try to attempt to pick a team for tomorrow. Now, Sumit, you straight away said Alisson came out your mouth. We've got Alisson. Have we got Alisson? This is the question now. Do we? Is this a game where, wrong one. Is this a game, Keith, that we say, Queven, thank you so much and all of that, but too much changes and too many players missing. We got to bring back the main man, or loyalty is a thing when it comes to Jurgen Klopp. Talk to me. This is a fucking hard decision now.
It's a very hard decision. You know, Klopp.
What would you do, and what will Klopp do?
What would I do? We've lost, leader of the group, right? We have 5 leaders of the group, right? Is it Salah, Trent, Robertson, Virgil, and who am I missing?
Alisson.
Yeah, so that's 5. Out of those 5 leaders,
Only Virgil
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Now, if Klopp looks at it from that perspective, lack of real leaders on the pitch, the ones that he's chosen, then Alisson has to start in this particular game.
Let us know in the chat what you guys think. Alisson or Kelleher, what would you guys do? I can't bother to do a poll for pretty much too much effort. Leave it alone.
Break glass for Alisson is what I would do, but Klopp is a man of principle. And Kelleher, this is his cup, man. I think Klopp would be disturbed a little bit if he was to upset him. So I think he picks Kelleher. But the right decision is Alisson.
My heart says Alisson. The problem you have is if you pick Alisson over Kelleher, you have a long-term problem with Kelleher feels slighted because this is his competition. And you don't want to mess up ranks, dressing room ranks. And Kelleher's good. You got to believe in your players. And it's like Pep Linda said, Kwanzaa was thrown to the deep end, and look how he's done. Kelleher has been great for us. Oh yeah, he looked a bit shaky against Fulham. I get it, but every keeper has that. Alisson has moments. But I think we stick with Kelleher. I think we stick with our squad, and we stick with the belief they'll get something. And I think that's only fair.
I think it's going to be Kelleher. In fact, people are just reminding me. Pep Linders said it's going to be Kelleher. So that's that. We just wasted 3 minutes of conversation. But hey, we've wasted much more than that on these shows before. What's going to stop us now? By the way, guys, I've still got the 4-2-3-1 that Fulham are planning to play tomorrow, according to Jack. What are we sticking with is there any suggestion of a positional change or formation change, Keith, or no, man? We got to do what we got to do, right? 4-3-3, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be the 4-3-3. Unless I reckon 4-3-3, version of it. It just depends who plays in the.
Well, let's go. This is the straight away the hard one. Talk to me right back then. What are you doing? Are you doing Bradley and then Gomez staying at left back, or are you doing Gomez and Beck coming in at left back? Which way? Or are you going both?
Well, my only question with Owen Beck is, in the chat, you could probably tell me I'm wrong, but I just thought about registration. If you can be,
he's fine. He's ready to go. He's ready to go.
Oh man, do you know what it is? I really want Joe Gomez to be left at home.
Really?
I don't want him anywhere near the pitch. He's played too much football. I'm sure.
He's got two. That don't mean he's got
rhythm.
Like Joe Gomez is at his best when it's rhythm, and I get your point as well. But this is Keith. We got 10 days off after this. One last set. No, like I think you're the one who says Fulham's going to be tricky, and I agree with you. And Jack's just told us not many injuries and not many suspensions. They're raring to go. He's going to pick his strongest team, put all the eggs in their basket tomorrow as opposed to their league game. They've got Chelsea early kickoff on the weekend. They don't give a shit. No, they don't. They don't give a shit. This is it for them. Their first semi-final after how many years and all of that. Gomez, you're suggesting throw both young fullbacks in? You believe in them?
I believe in them. I believe in Owen Beck. I believe in Conor Bradley. I believe you can play them both. However, again, I'm just saying this from a perspective of I just would like to wrap Joe Gomez in bubble wrap after what's happened over the past week. But obviously, the realistic situation is I think he goes Conor Bradley on the right, Joe Gomez on the left.
Sumit, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Keith. I didn't think of the Joe Gomez wrap up in cotton wool until Keith said it. You're right, man. We have to. He's been playing excellent. We need to make sure he stays fit. So I totally
Considering
agree.
Robertson and Tsimikas
Yeah.
will be back, I reckon first week of Feb.
Mm. Yeah.
I get what you're not saying about Gomez.
I think Gomez starts tomorrow. I think Gomez, it's home.
Where?
Left back. Conor Bradley on right, because Verge, experience, he'll marshal Conor Bradley, right? And then
hold on. No, he won't. Because
he's on
Virgil
left.
plays on the left, right?
Oh my god, of course, yeah.
I've got that
Also,
right.
this was my thing I was going to say earlier with Trent not playing, and he may have started. I think Konate was going to get a rest,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he might not get a rest now because he might need to be the experience for Conor Bradley.
But it's a lot of work here to think about this, guys. I need
It
your
is.
expert analysis here. This ain't no just picking your team at the top of your head. I need some thoughts here. This is deep. I don't know how we're gonna do this. There's no leaks in the lineups for me to reveal for you guys today at the moment. I keep checking my phone. If I get any updates, I'll let you know. But at the moment, anybody's guess. Are we saying Conor Bradley then?
Yes.
All the hype,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
the way he came on
Yeah.
and done everything else, right?
Yeah.
Mental.
I thought he was magnificent against.
He was.
And I get what you're saying. It was like, I hope he's in the database. This will be embarrassing if he ain't. Brad.
There he is. Yeah,
There he is. Amazing. He is there.
This
Doesn't
database
look
is
like that.
alright, isn't it?
He doesn't look
Really
like
good.
that. Bruv, I told you I don't muck about anymore. I'm going up in the world, man. New content, new updates, new data. Fuck, I'm smashing it. What are we saying? What did we say next to... Oh, we said Gomez is going to...
Yeah.
One last
I
push,
think
yeah?
so. I think so, Gomez. He has to. It has to. Semi-final at home. Has to.
All right, then. Who's playing next to Verge? Is it Kwanzaa? Are you resting Konate? What are you doing? Are you going with Konate one last hurrah?
I was
got
going
that 10-day break.
I was gonna go with Kwanzaa to begin with before Trent was gonna be out. I'm gonna say Konate. Me personally, I don't know what Keith thinks, but I think Konate just because of the experience.
I
He
just
picked up
think,
a couple of... Didn't he go down a couple of times, Konate?
He did.
yeah, that's the one that's definitely getting wrapped in bubble wrap.
Yeah, but then look what you're putting. You're putting young Kwanzaa next to young Conor Bradley. You're doing reckless ones, Keith. This is you on a Friday night.
Jarrell was his captain. Jarrell was his captain, yeah, I believe, at some point in the youth setup. So I'm just gonna say, listen, Jarrell is the now, innit? He's not the tomorrow, he's the now. I mean, the guy's got enough experience.
I'm overruling. I'm casting the
Konate.
vote. Yeah, I'm going casting vote. I'm going Konate because of the fact that it's Bradley. So that's the we can't have two youngsters on the right hand side. They're going to have an experienced campaigner, Willian, and then you're going to have Pereira drifting out to the left as well. Are you really wanting to do that kind of thing? I don't know, man. People are saying Kwanzaa starts. Is VVD well? Yeah, VVD's fine. What about Gomez at centre back? He's doing such an admirable job at full back. Leave him there for now. Any shouts for Kwanzaa playing left back? No, why?
Way.
Why would you do that? I think no.
We don't need to mix with the sauce sometimes. Sometimes the seasoning is just right. You don't need to mix with the sauce.
Trust me.
I'm like that, I'm not a big fan of sauce all the time. Sauce doesn't have to be for everything. If the seasoning's right, you don't need the sauce.
That's it.
Big up, Grizz. Blue says, big up yourself, my friend. What are we doing? I think that the midfield picks itself, or
Maka.
does it?
Maka plays. Maka starts.
Oh, it's Mac, isn't it? Or Mac?
Oh, no, that's not him, is it? Let's try A and then Mac. There he is.
There it is. MAC.
No,
it's MAC.
There you go.
Right,
what are you doing next to him?
I think this is the game. I think he lets Ryan Gravenberch play in this one.
Left or right-sided?
I think he puts Ryan on the...
He's usually left, right? Or is he... No, he's right. He's right usually, right?
No, he's left usually. I think he goes Ryan Gravenberch and Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott, yeah. I'm not mad at that. I personally think... I originally thought that. I thought Gravenberch starts because he had a lot of minutes and he needs a bit of rhythm. I think it's going to be Elliott, Maka, and Jones.
Elliot Macker and Jones.
Yeah.
The thing is, again, Curtis Jones is another one. Just like Ibu, just like Joe. There's a lot of minutes in those legs.
Oh, come on. You can't be wrapping
Joe,
up with
I'm telling you, Jones.
He's right. He's right.
Jones,
You do.
Jones
You play a lot of minutes.
He got sent off against Spurs, and then we didn't see him for about 4 weeks. And Jones is another one. Jones just kind of just disappears. Like, the question I have is, we just played a very intense game against Arsenal, literally less than 3 days ago. I know we've got the 10-day break coming up, but I mean, we're talking about red zone now. And if you play Ryan Gravenberch, I think he'll start Ryan Gravenberch on the left. I don't think he starts Jones on the right.
I think Gravenberch has to play in this for the sake of his confidence, for pretty much like Kelleher type vibes. Like, we brought him to integrate him because we're in so many competitions. Gravenberch was one of those signings where I don't know about you guys, I thought he's going to play the Europa, the League Cup, and the FA Cup games. And in the league, he's going to have to work his way and show us that he can perform in the cups so he can earn a place in the league team. I, at the moment, don't think he's done enough to earn a place in the league lineup on a regular basis. I think he's been underwhelming. I've no way given up on him, or I'm not saying, oh, what a waste of a signing. I absolutely see the potential in him. In fact, he's the one who won the free kick for the winner against the other day against Arsenal. I love the way he rolls players, close control, all of that. I want to see more efficiency. That'll come. Absolutely. He hasn't played football. He's the opposite of what you're talking about. Our players played so much football. He's hardly played in the last 12 months. So he needs rhythm. I agree, Keith. Sumit, you said Gravenberch as well.
Yeah, I thought.
Oh, no,
I
you didn't.
think.
You think.
I do think he.
Elliott?
I just think because of the Trent not being there, I then went with Elliot Jones Macker. But I think Gravenberch has to start.
I think you've got a point as well, though. If we're gonna,
because I think Fulham. I do think Fulham are going to try to take this to the second leg. Right? They're betting on taking, 2-1 or 1-0 loss to Craven Cottage. So Liverpool going to have more of the ball. You need Elliot to, in the tight spaces. He can shoot from distance. He's got more about him to break the lines, etc. That's why I think.
Shall we hold on that, because then it depends on what we play up front. Then you see, because Elliot might be right wing, Keith, or is that a no-go? You prefer him in the middle? I thought he was redundant against Arsenal on the right, but when he came in the middle, he started knitting things together again alongside Curtis Jones.
Correct. Klopp was right about him long term, and it's come to pass. He may have been good on the right side at Blackburn, but in the right side of this Liverpool team, it doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. Works perfectly in the midfield. Look, my kind of idea would be is that the only way Harvey Elliott plays in the right side of the three is if Gakpo, and they try and do what I hated it, because they were trying to do this thing where Gakpo and Harvey Elliott would almost like take it in turns and rotate that position, where one would be further up than the other would sit, then vice versa. I hated that. I believe that this may be the chance for Klopp to put Diaz on the right, and if he puts Diaz on the right, and this is kind of where we go while Salah's away, then that's where I see Harvey starting in that midfield. Otherwise, if he persists on wanting to do what he did with Arsenal, I can see Gakpo starting in the middle and Harvey on the right. But what I'm going to go with, because obviously we need to pick, is that I'm going to go with my choice is Harvey in the middle and Diaz on the right.
Yeah.
Oh, Diaz on the right and then Harvey in the middle. So you're thinking it's a time to rest Jones. So, have you decided? I'd say if it's 50-50, I'll decide.
I say Elliot, because I think his energy in tracking back as well. We're going to need to protect Conor Bradley as much as we can on that right-hand side, especially with William. So I'm going to go, and going forward, he'll offer just a little bit more than Jones. I think Elliot will start. I think Jones will come off the bench, because we'll need options off the bench. We were light on the weekend. I think Elliot starts.
So, Keith, you've gone for Elliot as well.
Yeah, Elliot.
I think it's going to be Jones, but I've been outvoted. I just think we're going to need some form of pace and power.
Yeah.
I think it's time for Ryan to bring that, in my opinion. I think the thing with Ryan Gravenberch, what I've noticed, is very loose. right? He's got this ability to maneuver the ball with his body, and like him and Jones are quite similar in what they try and do, except Jones is a lot tighter with it. You know what I mean?
Great shout.
Whereas Gravenberch seems to be able to, he's got it, and when it pulls off, great. But a lot of the times he gets the ball nicked off him, or he'll make the wrong decision, or take a heavy.
Is he younger than Jones, or about the same age? Actually, they're about the same age. They're about the same age.
20,
I like that shout.
That's a really good point.
I do think Curtis Jones. I do think Ryan Gravenberch reminds me of Curtis Jones 18 months ago.
Yes, correct.
And the progression Curtis Jones has made, I'm hoping Gravenberch can make by the start of next season. And then we've got an absolute gem, because then we've got Curtis Jones, Ryan Gravenberch, Harvey Elliott, 3 absolute, and then add Szoboszlai in there. We've got 4 22-year-olds that are the absolute future of Liverpool, and they cover pretty much all the skills between them. McAllister's not old, actually. So he's not
mid-20s, right? Like 26.
Probably.
Yeah. I think also Gravenberch, like, he had an injury, and I think that messed up his rhythm as well, because he was playing well in the Europa, and I think he's that type. I think you're right, Grizz. He hasn't played a lot of minutes the last 12 months. Once he gets there, he'll be a cracking player. He's got all the qualities, definitely.
Mane Hafirang makes a very good point, and that's why I think he'll start tomorrow. Personally, Jones is the only other leader available as well tomorrow, because Curtis Jones has been elevated into that leadership group as well. Macca's 25, brilliant, wow. So all our midfielders are under 25 and under. That's some going. Okay, are we all unanimous on Luis Diaz being the right winger?
I think it's time to do it.
He was magnificent, right, in that second half.
He was
amazing,
and I feel like that right winger role he gets is a freer role. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think as in, I feel like he's given license to kind of come into the middle, a bit like how Salah from time to time can be given that license. I think he takes that license more to take up more positions in and around that right area. So I think while he'll be on the right, particularly in defensive transitions, pressing and stuff like that, I think when it comes to build-up play, I think you'll see him popping up all over the place, to be honest. But the right is where he'll start.
So, mate, Luis Diaz, you like him on the right? Is he
Absolutely.
the option while Salah's away? Is your mind made up? Because some were saying Szoboszlai, who hopefully is not far away, probably about a week. Well, after the 10-day break, he'll be back. Some were saying Szoboszlai be pushed out there. Some are saying Jota. We've got the Nunes conundrum as always, as usual. Or are you going with Luis Diaz?
I think we go Luis Diaz. I like the fact that we got the flexibility in the fact that we could put Szoboszlai there, we could put Jota there, we could do that. But I think it's time, like Keith says, give Luis Diaz his time in that position. He can take on players, he can cut in, he can score, as we saw on the weekend with a no look. That's a Mane type finish on the weekend.
That was a Mane type finish.
It's a Mane type finish. So I think we give him a chance, especially with Salah at the AFCON. But yeah, I think Diaz, man, I think he's come good at the right time. I think we're gonna see some informed Luis Diaz over the next few weeks.
Who's playing through the middle?
Jota for me.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Keith, are you Jota? Yeah. Are you Gakpo, Nunes?
I think Jota needs football.
Not Jota on the left?
No, I think Darwin Nunes on the left. I think this is going to be the front three that Klopp. If the front three that Klopp picks against Fulham has to be the front three going forward until Salah's back, in my opinion. And I don't know what it is, because I always find with Cody Gakpo this season, I don't feel like he's been given the rub of the green. I really empathize with him a lot. He has been made to play in 1,000 different positions. He's not been able to get a chance to have a run in a particular position. But unfortunately, I just think Nunes on the left is more menacing. And I think Diogo Jota is a better finisher, ultimately, in the center. And I feel terrible saying that, because I think Cody Gakpo should get a chance to ply his trade in the forward lines. But this, for me, looks like the front three going into the next few games.
There you have it. I think this is our prediction then. You know, and I know it would be harsh on Harvey Elliott, guys. Hold on. Can someone remind us in the chat, unless you guys know offhand, Curtis Jones went off, didn't he, against Arsenal?
He
Harvey Elliott
did.
played the full 90 minutes, didn't he?
He did.
There's your answer.
Jones. Yeah.
Who starts tomorrow?
Yeah.
There's your answer.
Maka and Jones came off.
There's your answer. Didn't take a genius for it to work out. I just put a bit of football logic, man. This is you guys got to learn from me, man. Very soon.
It's just because
if you're gonna
Trent.
take over my channel, if you're gonna take over my channel, you got to learn from me. I applied a bit of footballing logic, a bit of know-how, a big experience. I've worked out the team tomorrow. People are gonna think I've got inside information, but I've just applied.
It's only because of Trent. Only because of Trent, I put Elliott in there for the creativity. If Trent's not injured, I put Jones in. It's only because of that. That's the only reason. But
Jones came off in the 75th minute.
Yeah.
It's gonna be. Elliott didn't come off, did he?
He didn't come off. He came off for Bobby Clark. Remember?
Oh, he did.
Good.
Oh, well, there goes my fucking theory.
Right, we're still gonna smash them, man. Honestly, don't worry. We'll be all right tomorrow. We'll be.
I don't know, man.
It's a good 11.
It's a good 11.
It's a patched up 11. That's my only issue.
I mean, the scary thing is, what do we look like without Trent, Salah, Szoboszlai, our three main creators this season? What are we going to look like without them? I agree with you. Our front three is possibly as good as anything around. I just worry about our rhythm in midfield, if that's going to be the midfield. As I said, I think it's going to be Curtis Jones. I think Curtis Jones is an absolute must, guys. I don't know how you've left Curtis Jones out of there. Man, Curtis Jones is the connector. He's the tempo setter. He's been missed. Every time he's not played, we've looked dysfunctional. And in a semi-final of the Cup, I'm going to change Elliott. I honestly, and I love Elliott. He's been a revelation. I'm pulling rank.
I'm pulling rank.
No, it makes sense. I think it could be either. I think you're probably right. It's Jones.
You know why? Curtis Jones, you mentioned the Conor Bradley. I think Curtis Jones has developed more in that Gini Wijnaldum role than anyone else.
Yeah.
And tactically, he's so astute and ahead of the game.
He is. He reads the game very well. He does. If he's
on
his game...
not picking him is not a slight on his ability at all. Like
no. Yeah.
It's for me. It's just, as I said before, it's you're looking at it, and who's going to make the decision ultimately? Is it going to be Jurgen Klopp or is it going to be the medical team? That's going to be interesting. I think the medical team picks a few of these positions tomorrow, and Klopp will admit that.
They often do. He does say that I've been overruled by the medical team. I mean, look, at the top of our head, from what we've said, the people that are in the red zone, so to speak, would have been Konate, Joe Gomez, really. Maybe Nunes played quite a bit. No, he's been rotated.
He'll be okay. He'll be all right. I think Jones maybe as well.
It's Konate and Gomez, right?
Yeah, and obviously Max just coming back from injury, but
he'll be fine. He hasn't played. I think they've rested him and took him off 60 minutes. That was pre-planned. Van Dijk's be fine. He was, he didn't play. I think the guys in the red zone will be Konate and Gomez, and to replace them would be Kwanzaa or Beck.
Yeah,
be too much changes, guys. If we played,
if
we played Kwanzaa and Beck, that would be very inexperienced team. How do you think the game's going to go tomorrow, Keith? Looking at the Fulham team that we saw, who's the danger man from them, in your opinion? Or from your experience of Fulham?
Yeah,
Dakota Reed is always a problem, isn't he?
Yeah. Big Liverpool fan apparently as well. Obviously, the Liverpool fans are usually the ones that turn up the hardest, especially at Anfield. I think we're
going to need them tomorrow. We're going to need the fans tomorrow. As you said, it's going to be awkward. We really need.
It's going to be the wingers for me. Yeah, Dakota Reed, Willian. I think that they're going to frustrate us. I think it's going to be a challenge because they are going to play a patient game, but at the same time, who's going to be like we've all said, is Marco Silva? Marco Silva, this is his World Cup final. Our player is going to see the League Cup semi-final the same way that he's going to see the League Cup semi-final, because you can say, and Klopp can come out and tell us that every game matters, every football match is of importance, but driving that home to some of these lads who probably look at the League Cup as a third choice trophy, are they going to risk themselves when there's a 10-day break on the other side of the pond, on the other side, and an opportunity to regroup? It's that kind of game. And the fans as well. You said the fans. Are the fans going to come and bring it tomorrow? Do you know what I mean? Like,
they have to. They surely must. This is a semi-final. Guys, like we said, you know, we can't take this lightly. They're a Premier League team, and they're an informed team. They've went to Arsenal and turned them over in the league.
Yep.
Not in the cup competition, and I'm not taking anything away from us, the fact that we turned them over, but it was a cup competition. Arsenal were missing a few players. When Fulham went there, it was full strength for Arsenal. And Fulham turned them over quite nicely.
Fulham took 4 out of 6 points this season. They took the draw at Arsenal 2-2, and then they beat them at Craven Cottage.
There you go.
Scored 3 goals at Anfield in the league.
So, mate, how do you think this game's going to go? What's your final thoughts and aspirations for this game tactically?
I think you're right. Anfield needs to be there. I think, you know, scoreline, I'll say 2-1. I think we may concede, but I'll say 2-1. One thing I would say is we just don't get caught on transition, because that's where decoy over Reed and William will exploit. But I think we'll be okay. I think Fulham, their first semi-final, if the crowd's there, they're not experiencing that. It's tough. We need everyone together.
Hopefully gets to them, isn't it?
We
haven't mentioned the big man up front for them. From what I remember in the first game, he gave our centre backs quite a rough time. You know, our centre backs didn't have it all their own way against him.
He did, but the one thing I'd say about Fulham is, and I know they played well against us, their form away from home is no good. They've lost 6 away this season, away from home. No, they played well against us, and we scored 2 late goals, but their league form hasn't been good. I don't know which one turns up. I think it'll be a strong side because it's Marcus Silva and they tend to do well against the big sides. I'm just hoping, being optimistic, that actually we just turn them over and we show who we are. Because we're on a good run of form. And I think the Arsenal victory, it would have been an intense game, but we won it. And I think that we can take that rhythm into this game.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think so. I think we should be. And I want this semi-final. I want this semi-final won tomorrow. And I don't want to sound greedy, but I honestly think we need a 2-goal lead, guys, going to Fulham, because we're not going to play a full strength team because we may, because after Fulham we've got Norwich or Bristol in the FA Cup, where we're likely to rest more players, so we may actually go very strong against Fulham in the return leg. But needless to say, we need a win. Anything else to touch upon? Matip, wanted by Steven Gerrard. Thoughts on Joel Matip? I know we've discussed it, Keith. What do we do with him at the end of the season? Are you giving him a new contract? Are you saying thank you very much? You've been an absolute legend. It's time to go.
Yeah, I'm giving him a short extension to make sure that he is able to get the medical help that he needs from Liverpool to have a full recovery. Because my understanding is that the injury is going to take him past his contract expiration, and I don't think anybody wants to see a player who serves himself so well just get kicked out the door like that. So I definitely give him something just to make sure that we look after him. But it's a tough one with Joel Matip because, like, I think for him, it's you got to look at your own body. And you got to start asking some questions at 33 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, yet another significant injury that is ankle shot. I mean, bro, there's a life after football. Do you know what I mean? And that's the biggest fear. And I look at someone like Thiago and I say the same thing. Like, there is life after football, and the rate that he's going to be in chronic pain for the rest of his life if he carries on like this. So my question with Matip really is, do you want to be playing football either at the highest level or at all at this stage of your career, or do you want to maybe give it some time off? So I think there's a deeper level than just Liverpool, in my opinion, when it comes to him.
What are you doing with Matip, Summit?
I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I think it's a really good point from Keith. I'd like to keep him at the club if he's willing to play like a squad rotation, be a leader, you know, because he's a good defender. I know he's had his ups and downs, but he's been a great servant for us. And he's pulled it
Magnificent
out of the bag in the biggest games, Champions League final.
Oh,
You know, he's done the business. So I think having someone like that around, he's obviously liked within the dressing room. I think having him there, even just in the background, if he wants to play a squad player role, you know, cups, league cups, things like that, ushering the new guys in, people like Kwanzaa, Bradley, all those defenders will learn a lot from him. So I'd like to see him at the club, even for a short period of time. I wouldn't like to see him go to play at El Atifak where they're not even playing that well either. So yeah, I'd like to see him.
yeah, it's a tough one, man. Joe Matip is an absolute one of my favorites, man. What a bloke, what a man, what a character, what personality, and what a player. What a player. That's so overlooked. Everyone talks about, you know, his characteristics and his arms and his legs and the way he brings out the ball. And sometimes he's a character of sort of like, not mocking, but people look at him in a jesty type way, you know, like how funny is he? But he's a magnificent. And this season above else, so sad because he shut all of us up. He shut all of us up. I mean, the ones that absolutely believed in him, big up you guys, fair play to you lot. But with the majority of the fan base was like, thanks, man, but we're never going to get that Joel Matip back. And he came back so strong. He came back so full of vigor and energy. And he looked like the young Joel Matip again, was doing magnificent things. Football's a humbler, man. Injuries are a humbler. Look at that, man. Tragic way of hopefully not, you know, ending his Liverpool career. I'd have to let him go, guys. I'd have to bring in someone younger and look forward and look ahead. Someone durable, reliable, someone who's going to sort of be given the opportunities that, instead of giving Matip, give to a young player to gain confidence, like a Kwanzaa. I actually think Kwanzaa's, I don't think it's an overreaction to say Kwanzaa's, I think he's a frontline centre-back now for us. I don't want to, do you reckon? I think he's a front.
Yeah, he's proved himself. Yeah, he's played in some tough games and he's come through and he's played very well. I think, yeah, I agree. I think you know what, you've turned me on that.
It's one of those, when we see Kwanzaa's name on the lineup now, we're like, no problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas, do you remember when we used to see Phillips or Williams? It was like,
yeah, no matter how many times he played them, it was always the same. It was like,
someone's going to target them in a game.
Yeah. 100%.
This guy, I keep telling you, Keith, and I don't know, Sumi, if you've been listening to me, this guy's got a ferociousness in him that not every striker and forward's going to relish going up against.
Yeah, he has a resilience. I think about the Burnley game. There's moments where he had edgy moments, but it didn't affect him because in game he just sorted himself out. And that resilience on the pitch, other defenders would have crumbled. We've seen that in the past at Liverpool. Lovren, for example, it's happened. Yeah. Whereas Kwanzaa, at the age he's at, he's going, no, I have belief in myself, and I think that resilience is going to get him a long way, and he's going to be a great stalwart for Liverpool in years to come. Honestly, he's really, really glad that we had him because there was a massive furore about centre back in the summer.
Oh, he saved us. 50 millions easy, man. Easy. This guy, it's that slide tackle they're talking about. It was like so clean, brilliant. He done one yesterday as well against, I can't remember who it was, quite earlier on, and it was just ferocious. Clamped it in. I love the way he does that. I'm all about that. I'm all about that. I love that. I'm not that kind of player. I wasn't, sorry, a kind of player.
But
you know what I mean?
But he does it in a way. You know who else is really good at it? I was looking at some of his highlights. Is Ibu Konate. Like they have the ability to do the clampers or to do the slide tackles, but in such a clean way that it never looks reckless. Do you know what I mean? Like even if they were to give it away,
like Carragher's used to look reckless, right? Carragher's were never clean.
Never, probably. That's either the.
That's a good one, isn't it? That's a good one.
Yeah, 100%.
Carragher wasn't elegant with that at all. No way.
Biggest irony with Joel Matip is he's the type of guy that could get fit again next season and then all of a sudden play his way back into the team and then we're back in the and that's how good he is. That's why we need to let him go. That's an interesting point. The academy is doing quietly a good job because that's been a topic of conversation on this channel before.
Bro, people, you know what I mean? People want miracles, man. People want Steven Gerrard's popping off academies everywhere like it's a normal common thing. But you know, we're establishing, or we're bringing through quite a few gems. Curtis Jones is elevating himself very nicely in the upper echelons of Liverpool. dare I say, legends. He's not a legend right now. Please don't quote me on that. But what I'm saying is he's establishing himself slowly but surely. He needs a couple of trophies, majors under his belt. He's already got some, but he's not being a significant frontliner in those
Yeah.
successes, it's fair to say. He's been a
Correct.
vital element, but if we can add a Champions League or a Premier League to the form that he's showing, why he's a frontline midfielder, that's Trent, that's Stevie, that's Curtis now added to the ranks. Any more? Who knows?
knows?
Connor Bradley's coming through very nicely.
Yeah.
Harvey Elliott doesn't count as an academy player, but and now
He
we've
was
got
Fulham's.
and now we've got young
Ironically.
and now we've got young Gerald Kwanzaa, just showing us that we could possibly have like 5 academy generational talents coming through. That would be quite something. People, thank you very much for tuning on for tuning into a pre-match carnage for Fulham Liverpool tomorrow. I hope we come away with a victory. I will be here for the post-match reaction. Post-match carnage will be here. I don't know if I've got any friends tomorrow. I'll go through my messages, phone book, everything, see if anyone wants to be my friend tomorrow. Otherwise, I'd like to thank my guest and debutant today. Hope you have enjoyed it as much as I have, Sumit.
Really appreciate it, man. Really, honestly, really appreciate it. Thank
Nice.
you.
No problem at all. No doubt we will have you back again if as long as you want to be back. Keith, I don't know what your itinerary is tomorrow. I guess it depends on if we win. If we win, you quite get happy. If you lose, you pretend you make excuses. But it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, my
I know-
hamstring.
Yeah, your hamstring. Yeah, exactly. But people, thank you very much for joining us. Smash a like on your way out if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't. Road to 35k is still there. I believe I'm just over 100 away from 35k now. Regular content is happening and coming, man. I'm active. Look at the background. Look at the techno. Look at the what's the word? The wizardry behind the scenes. We're going places, people. Liverpool are too. Catch you later. Take care.